Thank you for being here. This is
Dude,
great.
I'm excited to be here.
It's been fucking. You said Super Bowl, right? And that was back in the SpongeBob incident, right? When they're supposed to play Sweet Victory, but they didn't. And it was like
I thought they did, didn't they?
They started with the intro, and then
They didn't play the whole thing.
And it was Travis Scott doing Sicko Mode.
Oh yeah, we got very upset with that. We were like, what the fuck?
I was cheated. Are you kidding me?
That was maybe like, God, I feel like
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
4 years. Holy fuck.
Wait a minute.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So I wasn't even like, what? I think I got back from deployment maybe when I saw you guys. So it was like 2017.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 years ago.
Holy shit. That's like right when I got an Emmy too.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck. That's awesome. Well, thank you for squeezing me into your tight schedule.
Dude, of course. I've been meaning to like catch up anyway.
Yeah.
It was good.
So I'm glad because you hit me up about it a while back. I'm glad that you're starting your own podcast. That's awesome.
Trying shit.
It's awesome. And to answer your question from beforehand, I think just from the very small experience that I've had and just some of the knowledge I've picked up from my buddy that produces this with me, the mic really, like, with the amount of money you put into that, will really help you out on the back end.
Yeah.
And then, like, with the noise deafening, somehow, I don't know, like, technology behind it. But, for instance, in that black crate, there's still some of the equipment that we used, like, when we first got started.
Yeah.
And those mics are fucking terrible. They're like $15 mics off of eBay.
Oh, shit.
Oh, they're garbage. And they pick up everything.
Yeah.
Like, these ones, what's nice is, like, you guys have to talk into the center.
Yeah.
Because, like, the outside's deafen everything.
Yeah.
And then on the back, what these do, you can see that.
Yeah.
Those, like, they, like, calibrate what type of sound is coming in. So, like, I have these set for simple, like, voices and, like, not very loud things. But if you wanted to, like, sing or if you wanted to play an instrument into them, you have to actually adjust the knobs.
Yeah.
And that, it makes the audio files a little bigger depending on what you set it to.
Yeah.
But it calibrates it better. It almost, like, does the mastering for you.
Okay.
So, like, all the blue shit and black shit that you see, I didn't really even need those. I was just kind of experimenting. And it helps out a little bit, especially considering, like, we're in a garage.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, honestly, if there was, like, a necessity, because, like, the little, like, triangles, like,
Yeah.
I think you guys seen behind you, too, that helps because, like, the vinyl's okay because the sound kind of just dissipates off vinyl, off vinyl flooring. But then there's concrete, so that helps it kind of disperse out from the concrete, and then same thing, like, up there.
Yeah, like in the corners and stuff.
Yeah, the biggest problem in this room, honestly, is the vinyl behind me, because it's like refracting or reflecting or whatever off of that. But the flag, because that's cloth, it absorbs the sound, just like the rest of the foam.
Okay.
And honestly, like, I don't know if the direction of, like, you know, some of them are like horizontal or vertical. I don't know if that helps. I just saw it on YouTube, and I was like,
gonna put it like this.
yeah, at least aesthetically it looks cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I just really think it matters, like, because sure, they put out as like a podcast kit. So it's like this, but a little smaller, and I don't think it has the knobs in the back. And I think the mic plus a good stand is like a little over $300.
Okay.
So it's not fucking cheap.
Yeah.
But and I think what helps with that too, because it's smaller, because this puts out a ton of power. That's why I had to get these. This condenses all of it, and then whatever power you actually need, that's what it puts into here. Because I think eventually, if you were trying to put a lot into here, it would just fuck it up somehow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know the science, but, like, it would just fuck it up. So what have you done so far with it? You're kind of practicing a little bit.
I've literally just kind of, like, when I have time, I'll just sit there and, like, put my headphones on, you know, hit record. Now just say my intro that I'm still working on, and then just start talking about something. So I'm thinking about, like, what my first episode's gonna be on, and I just, like, talked about different shit.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, like, every one of my practice rounds for, like, my first episode have literally just been like, so today I'm just gonna talk about this, and then I'll just
You just speak
go
in your
off.
mind.
Yeah, pretty much just go off, and just pretty much it. Yeah. So
If you're,
it's really not that long either. Like, the longest thing that I have is probably like 10 minutes. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? I was like, maybe it doesn't really matter. It's going to get longer when I have, like, people on it. Like, 10 minutes for a first episode isn't really
No, not at all.
bad,
Especially
so.
like if it's just yourself.
Yeah,
And
and
you're
I'm like explaining who I am, what I want the podcast to be about, and then I just kind of like, all right, so I'm gonna do this. We're gonna talk about this. This is my opinion on this. This is what I feel like for this.
and you're pretty
So,
long-winded.
yeah.
Like, so I don't think you'll have a problem with just speaking if it's just you.
Oh, dude, I run my mouth so much. I think my issue is I talk really fast. So those 10-minute videos for a normal person will probably be like 20 minutes. 'Cause I talk so fast.
Yeah.
And like, that was like one of the biggest things in the Marine Corps that I would always get from like my staff NCOs and shit. It was like, Odell, you need to take like normal human breaths in between your speeches. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Staff Sergeant? So I'd be like, okay. And I'd have to concentrate really hard. Like, all right, breaks. And then I'd just keep talking. And then I'd like tell myself, okay, stop.
I feel
And then
like
just keep talking.
I feel like the hardest thing, because we were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, is like actively being, being in active duty, any kind of branch, and having a podcast. And like, I feel like even they say they don't, like the bro vets on like Instagram and all that shit, they get a little leeway, I think,
Yeah.
with what they say. I think especially, do you follow Tim Kennedy at all? He's a Green Beret.
I don't have social media.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. Good on you, by the way. I agree with that. Like no fucking other.
Yeah,
but
I literally have nothing, but sounds familiar.
yeah, he used to be MMA fighter for a little bit. But he's a Green Beret. He used to be active duty. Went to I think he's in the National Guard version of the Green Berets now.
Yeah.
And he says that like the Army doesn't care about like who I am or whatever, but like then he goes on other podcasts and says some shit, and I'm like, like he's starting to change his views on like gun control and shit.
Yeah.
And he's saying how like civilians don't need AR-15s and how like just a very liberal
Yeah.
mindset, and I'm like, I feel like other soldiers would really get reprimanded for some of that.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just usually just stay away from everything.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. That's probably, and then
Like I'm very like don't need confrontation, don't need the energy. So if something comes up, I just sit there. I'll listen.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay.
Just absorb it.
Yeah, I'm just cool. Bro.
I think that's the best place to be,
Yeah.
especially right now. And like you said, how you cut off your social media. I envy that because
It's so nice.
that's what I did at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because it was just getting too much. And I was like, okay, you guys are stressing me out, and I'm not even involved in like more than half of this shit. So how long have you been off completely?
Like completely off, probably like a month and a half.
And you can see the change, right? You can feel it.
I can. I thought I'd have a relapse and be like, I want to get on Instagram or I want to scroll on Facebook. And the only thing I miss about Facebook is Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
That's literally all that I.
Oh, so you're saving money.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, like I really miss like being able to like see something that I'd like and I could just go down the street and pick it up. That's the only thing I miss. Besides that, I love it. Like I'm doing a lot more. I feel like I'm being able to go out and actually like, enjoy life more. I'm not on my phone more. Like usually I'm only on my phone if I'm like texting somebody like.
Right.
So like it's really nice and it was a very good adjustment for me at the time. And I think I'll probably stay off of it. I think the only time I'll ever get back on social media is if I do start my podcast officially. That's probably the only, like I'll have a professional page for that. Like I won't even like I'll have like a Facebook page. That's it.
Yeah.
So besides that, and I do miss like I guess my Instagram is turning it more into like a drill instructor. Like my recruits would find me and like ask questions and reach out to me and like ask me questions about the fleet and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a professional page when it came to like my career. Like I would like if in my recruits when they hit the fleet, when they became junior Marines and they had questions or they needed some mentorship, they could find me type deal. So I kind of missed that. Like I kind of.
Oh, so you actually enjoyed that?
Yes, I did. I liked the fact that they would reach out because like I have a lot of kids that would like reach out and be like, "Thank you so much. Like you really put my ass in check that I didn't know I needed." And they would just ask me questions like, "Hey, Staff Sergeant, like I have a question," or "Hey, Sergeant, like I don't know what to do in this predicament," or "This is going on my command and I don't really, like I really like your advice. I like your mentorship. Like I want to know what your opinion would be for like what I want to do." So that's like the only thing I miss is being able to talk with other Marines that I wasn't very close to that would reach out. But besides that, I love it. Like I realized that if they really care about me, the people that I care about, they have my number, so they really care. Like they'll reach out. Like I did have a few. Like for my birthday, for example, I don't really take my birthday seriously at all by any means. Like I really just don't give a shit.
I feel like after 21, you stop having birthdays.
Yeah, like even then before 21, like I was like, yep, cool. Like I'm 21 now. Hell yeah, I can get like into I was literally excited that I can get into hotels when I turned 21. I wasn't excited about anything else, but I was like, fuck yeah, I can get into any hotel now. And like when I turned 25, like this last birthday, I was like, I can rent a car now. Like without the fee.
Okay, wait.
That's fucking dope.
I've rented cars a few times, not enough to like write a fucking book about it or anything, but like, I've rented a few cars. I've never had a fee.
Well, sometimes they do like the military thing. So like I found like I bank with USAA. So USAA actually has like this really cool thing where like it'll waive it. Like if you're in the military, most of the time, sometimes the car rental fee, which is like $200 if you're under 25, it would be waived for military. Sometimes, yeah. So that might be it. But also, you can't get like the luxury like sports cars either unless you're 25.
Oh, I wouldn't even. Okay.
So for me, I'm like, fuck yeah, like I can rent a Camaro just for the fuck of it. So like for my birthday, I didn't do it, but I really wanted like all I wanted to do for my birthday because I went to Orlando. I was like, I want to rent a car for a day. I just want to rent like a bougie ass fucking convertible, like something, just because I can.
Because you're in Florida.
Yeah, and so that's like birthdays aren't a big deal for me. And I deleted my social media before my birthday. And surprisingly, some friends reached out that I never even talked to on social media, that I never really talked to at all. Like, they have my number. We text a few times, but we never actually talk. And surprisingly, the people that I thought would text me for my birthday didn't. And the people that I never really talked to were like, hey, man, like, I saw you're off of social media. Like, I was just checking in on you, making sure you're okay, first of all, but also, like, happy birthday. And I was like, holy shit, like, that's cool, dude. Like, I haven't talked to you in fucking... We don't talk, but, like... That's, so, like, it shows, like, who's really there for you and who's not. And, of course, they can always reach out to, like, my family and get my number if they needed to. You know what I mean? So deleting it really opened perspective, and I think I'm not on my phone as much. Like, I go out now, and I just see, like, when you're at dinner and you just see this. Mm-hmm. People on dates or families, and they're all just on their phones. Like, you can tell they're on social media because they're just scrolling.
It's fucking sad.
That's all they're doing. Like, their fucking thumbs are fucking muscular as shit because all they're doing is this. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, wow, like, I'm actually enjoying my dinner, and I'm just people watching. And I was like, wow, like, I really was into it. Like, I realized for me, my toxic trait was wanting to show what I was doing for some reason. Like, I wanted to, like, obviously with my ex-wife situation, like, I wanted her to see what I was doing, type like toxic shit. You know, I never really like looked for her. Sometimes I did, but like I was more of like I want people to see what I was doing.
People are watching.
Yeah, and so like I was like I want to show what I'm doing. And in my head I was like, why the fuck should I give a shit? What like why do these people need to know what I'm doing?
Facts.
Like why do they need to know that I'm having fun in Miami? Why do they need to know that I'm doing this? Why do they need to know I'm doing this? Like, why? Who gives a fuck? Like, no one really gives a shit.
No one does.
At the end of the day, no one cares.
Nobody.
So in my head, I'm like, you know what? Like, fuck this. Like, I realized social media was such a big thing for me, and cutting it off. Like, I still take pictures and stuff. So like, but like, it's for my own enjoyment. It's not for anybody else. So like, that's how I take it. Is like, now, I'm doing everything, but it's for me. Yeah. Like, I'm not worrying about what other people think of what I'm doing or wanting them to see what I'm doing to have their opinion or like, oh, cool, she's doing this. Like, at the end of the day, no one gives a shit. So it's been fucking fantastic. I love it. I probably won't ever get back on it.
That's fucking amazing.
Like, and everyone's like, oh, what about family? I'm like, they have my fucking number.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
They have my mom's number. They could be like, oh, you want to talk to Victoria? Here's her number. And I'll like, oh, what's up, aunt? Like, how you been? Like, you know, so.
No, it's funny. I was just having this conversation a couple nights ago, and I got back on social media for this. Yeah. Right? I was like, fuck, I need to.
And that's what I'm saying is like with my podcast.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, I need to. And yeah, so I got back on and did it. But the little change, I thought it was little at the time, the little change that I made was on my phone, I don't get notifications. Yeah. I get 0 for anything except for text messages and calling. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've told a few people that, and just like what you just said, I was like, well, what if someone was trying to get a hold of you? I'm like, if someone's trying to get a hold of me and it's dire through Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat, yeah, then they don't really need to get a hold of me. people who need to get a hold of me, they have my number.
Yeah, they'll call you.
They can call me, they can text me, and I'm gonna
Normally
that.
in an emergency, you're not gonna be like, oh fuck, let me Snapchat this person.
Yeah.
Come right now. Wait, selfie time. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's gonna be a fucking phone call. So.
Yeah, no, and it's just one of the problems that I found, especially when I was younger on social media, was like I would wake up to all these notifications and be happy about it.
Yeah.
And back then I was like, oh, cool, people care. And then now I'm like, why the fuck is there so many?
See, and that was another thing. Like, I changed my whole, because obviously I was going through a lot of shit, like from like the motorcycle accident and just healing and mentally getting better.
Right.
I even came up with like my own little routine to get off my phone even more. So like what I would do is I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, like at around 10 o'clock at night. And I'll only have like obviously work and my family, just because I get calls from work all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And those are the only calls I can get. And of course, Do Not Disturb if they call, like if it's really bad, they'll eventually go through like after like 3 times or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then in the mornings, what I'll do is I won't even look at my phone until I go out to work. So I used to like wake up, hit my vape, fucking get on my phone, you know, and like sit in bed for a little bit. And what I started doing was I'll wake up, I'll go take a shower, I'll fucking do a little meditation or just like sit there, like put on some music and relax and just think about the day and breathe and not even touch my phone until I walk out the door. And that has been fantastic.
Yeah, what do you think that's changed for you? Like,
I can't even, I mean, it sounds really like hippie, not gonna lie, like fucking energy. Like meditation and shit. Like I've never been into that shit. But honestly, like it's made it like very, like, my life seems very more calming. Like I used to be very anxious, very like on my phone all the time.
yeah.
And it's given me a chance to really just be in that moment with myself. Like I can think about the day and how it's gonna go, and just like take that time for myself. And then of course when I can start running, I'll probably like do runs in the morning and just fucking, you know, it's kind of like just like good energy. Like I start off with like good energy, like relaxed energy, because I know when I get to work I'm gonna have to fucking whatever. So
Be professionally stupid.
be professionally stupid. So it's been really good, like having like a morning routine like that and not being on my phone, because I feel like nowadays people are just so consumed in electronics and like their phones, and like obviously like our generation I guess was the one coming up in it a little bit more. Well, not really, like the generation now is fucking ridiculous, but like for us, you know, like that was like a new thing, I guess.
We were born with the internet.
Yeah.
Like we've grown up with the internet. You know what I mean? That's the crazy thing is like we, like people our age, we were very, very tiny, very small before the internet was big. So there's not a whole lot to remember, but at least our generation still kind of played outside.
Oh yeah, dude, I was always outside.
And even then, like I can remember like being at like school, like a daycare or whatever, and having like a Game Boy. So I could still like remember that, and I look back at that now, and I'm like, there was the beginning. Like they let us bring a Game Boy.
Yeah.
And now you see 10-year-olds or even younger
with fucking iPhones and shit.
With iPhones.
Or like the put a kid like little kids to like occupy them, they just put a fucking tablet in front of their face and make them watch a movie.
Exactly.
Fuck that. When I have kids, they're gonna be outside. They're gonna be like me and not get a phone. And it's gonna be a flip up phone when they're in 7th grade. That's what happened to me. Like I was super excited to get my first phone in 7th grade, but it was for emergencies only, and it was a flip up phone. Like that's what my kid's gonna get.
Yeah,
like they're not getting the fancy fucking whatever's gonna be at the time the new fucking big thing. They're not getting any of that shit.
Yeah,
because I refuse to have a kid that just goes like this the whole time and can't actually like live their fucking life.
See, and I think that's one of the things that makes me not want to have kids. To be honest, like with all this shit going on right now, and it's not gonna get any better. Yeah, like I just look at it and I'm like, this is not gonna get any better. But like, I know how I am as a person, and if you gave me a kid,
Lord help that child.
Yeah, I know exactly right. Like if you gave me a kid, I'd just be like, okay. Like after like 5 minutes, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. And then like, so I agree with you. Like it's not good parenting. Just stick a screen in front of your kid, get the kid to shut the fuck up, and they go.
It makes them soft.
Yeah, I agree. But then also I look at that and I'm like, I don't agree with it, but I know why it's happening. I know why it's happening, right?
Because that's like where the world's going. It's fucking.
Well, because I feel like the parents now, like people that are becoming parents or people that have been parents for a couple of years, they're younger, right? They're like early 30s, late 20s.
Yeah. Or even younger than that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, sadly,
20s,
yeah. But like they are growing up with short attention spans.
Yeah.
So they don't want to deal. Like, if they have a problem, they want to end it quickly. Mm-hmm. End that problem very quickly and get back to what's good. So if that problem's their kid and you have an easy solution.
Yeah. Instead of like playing with them for an hour and just one button, here you go, child.
Yeah.
But
no, it's scary. And no, I just remember growing up and having a Game Boy, and then, you know, Facebook. Like, I first got a Facebook when I was in middle school, I think.
Yeah, me too.
And I look back on it now and I was like, what was the why?
Yeah.
I didn't need one.
Yeah.
But like, it was just a thing to do.
It was the new MySpace.
Yeah. Oh God, MySpace. I don't know if I had a MySpace.
I didn't even have a MySpace. I just hear about it.
Yeah.
My sisters had one.
And then now, like, they've just become these, like, they've almost, there's an argument going around a while back where the internet is so crucial because, like, that's how everyone gets their news now. Mm-hmm. Like, not a lot of people our age watch the news. You know,
yeah, because you have like Netflix, like you have smart TVs, so you don't really need real TV.
Exactly. So they're getting all their news from. I get my news from Facebook, like most of it anyway. Like, so we're recording this on the 19th. They that like the manhunt they've been doing for the girl that like went on that road trip with her boyfriend. And you've been off, right?
Maybe I should get.
So
Facebook
there was
so I can see the news
I just heard about it today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I heard about it today, and then things have happened.
Yeah.
So there's this girl. Her name is Gabby something. I don't think she's older than like 22.
Okay.
Her and her boyfriend went on some cross country trip in their van.
Yeah.
And like 4 weeks ago, I think 4 weeks ago, he came back.
Oh.
Yeah, he came back, and everyone was like, "Hey, dude, what? Where's the other one?"
Yeah,
and
there was two of you when you left.
Yeah, yeah, and so he came back, and like a week after he came back is when the parents of the girl, they were like, missing person. Where the fuck is she?
Yeah,
and then this is like butchering it, but like they put a missing person out, and then like a week later, it was a fiance. The fiance and his parents lawyered up. And it just became this whole thing. They've been searching for her.
Yeah.
And I guess the last place that she was known to be was somewhere in Wyoming. Or maybe it was Wisconsin.
What does the boyfriend have to say? Or the fiance?
So the boyfriend fiance went missing like 4 or 5 days ago. No, I'm sorry. No, he went missing a week ago. And the parents only reported it like 4 or 5 days ago.
Jesus.
So he split.
Yeah.
He's not missing. He's hiding.
Yeah.
You know? So he split town. And then today, because like everyone got called in on this.
Yeah.
You know? And it's been getting like national coverage and all this shit. Yeah. And then like, so now, it's almost 8. So like maybe 2 hours ago or so, they found a body. And then on my way to pick you up, they believe it's the girl.
Oh shit, in Wyoming?
Yeah, in Wyoming. They believe it's the girl and they can't find the dude. Yeah. It doesn't take fucking Sherlock Holmes to figure out what the fuck happened.
The shoe fits.
No, yeah. I forgot why I brought this up. But because everyone's on their phones now.
Yeah.
So everyone's on their fucking phones, and there was an argument that because of so many like big news stories and like election coverage and everything was coming from like Facebook and YouTube, that the internet needs to be like a utility.
Yeah.
Like it's something that everybody gets. And I think that will happen in our lifetime. There will be like the city of Albuquerque Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's everywhere, right? So the more things become connected, like I think it's really like hijacking like our reward systems like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think the less I'm on social media, like for that very short period during the pandemic, I noticed that like my attention span did get, a little more strong. Mm-hmm. And I was just less quick to like anxiety or anger or anything like that. It was weird, like cutting out social media and then not speeding anymore. Like, I used to be a fucking like get there as fast as I fucking can without killing somebody.
Just relax and fucking...
Yeah, put it on cruise control and just drive.
That's how, honestly, now that you say that, I have the same thing. Like, I used to drive pretty fast, but now I'm kind of just like, you know what? Like, I got time. Like, I'm not rushed anymore.
Yeah, if you plan your day properly.
Yeah, I'm not rushed at all. And I'll be driving somewhere and I'll just be like, no, I got time to do this. Like, I'm chilling.
Yeah, because
jamming out to music.
you're not going super fast. Your adrenaline's not super high.
Yeah.
Some guy doesn't cut you off because you're going fast. You're being the asshole.
Yeah.
You're like, oh fuck you.
Go around me, bitch.
Yeah, like, yeah, I think that really helped my anxiety. So your job right now is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm super fucking proud of you, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I think that shit's dope. It doesn't surprise me in the fucking in the least.
Literally, everyone's like, "Dude, you're too nice," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, I remember like even before you got it, I was like, "You're gonna go do that, right?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe." It wasn't. No, you're gonna.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone was like, "Dude, you're doing it."
Yeah.
Like,
So before you became a drill instructor, you were an E5 sergeant, right?
Yeah.
And then so is there like a drill instructor academy? I'd imagine you have to go to.
yeah, so you go to drill instructor school, which is pretty much like 3 months. So it's like boot camp.
Okay, so
time frame.
walk me through that. What was that like?
It was good. I mean, my class, it was a good training. They teach you how to, scream. They teach you how to train. They teach you get your body physically ready. A lot of running, a lot of screaming. Showing you like the RTO, which is pretty much like the order on what you can and cannot do, like with recruits.
As far as like hazing goes and like
so
discipline and shit.
so like how you get to train recruits, what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot say, type shit.
What can't you? I'm more curious about what you can't say.
Like you can't curse at recruits.
Really?
Yeah, because it offends them.
That's what like the Marines are known for.
I don't know.
Like
So you're not allowed to curse or like say anything derogatory or all that stuff.
Because I had a buddy on a couple weeks ago. By the time this comes out, his episode will be out. But he was telling me how like motherfuckers were getting put in dryers and shit.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Yeah, you're not allowed to
And
do
how
that
like
stuff.
he went to boot camp, and they weren't there when he started, but when he left, is this true that like, well, he went to the one in San Diego.
Hollywood.
Which one is that?
That's still boot camp. So there's two. So there's
Right. Which one is that?
That's San Diego.
Okay, Marine.
MCRD San Diego.
Yes.
Marine Corps Recruit Depot.
Yes, and then you're at Parris Island, right? In South Carolina.
Yep.
Okay. He was telling me, I don't know if it's like that in South Carolina, but like how some of the barracks have like nets by the fucking windows.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get, because like obviously we had the Siddiqui incident. They had the Siddiqui incident when one of the recruits jumped off.
Muslim kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about that.
That happened. Back in 2004? Well, it wasn't really that long ago, actually. I can't even remember.
It was in like 2011 or 2012, I think.
I thought it was sooner than that. I'm pretty sure it was.
It might have been sooner.
Like 14, 15, maybe.
It might have been.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have like higher railings and shit,
right,
and stuff like that. I don't think we have bars on the windows, but you can't really. There's like fucking.
Well, he was telling me how they kind of open like that, so it's like angled.
No, ours just open normal.
Oh, okay.
But there's like screens and shit.
Okay.
And you're not gonna see a kid fucking trying to get a fucking big ass window open.
Right.
There. Yeah. So the drill instructor school, it's tough.
So you
sucks.
So you can't cuss at them.
No.
I'd imagine you can't call them various derogatory words.
Yeah, you can't do that. There's just like all the rules, like they're supposed to eat a certain amount of time. Like they have 20 minutes to eat their chow, which I mean we train them to eat fast. So, but
right.
They get their 20 minutes. They have to get their free time, all this other shit. So they pretty much just go over like the RTO, which is the recruit training order. They teach us that. They teach us the knowledge that we teach the recruits. So like Marine Corps knowledge, because the Marine Corps were very big on like our history and stuff.
Right.
Physically, they just get us physically ready. So we do PT a lot, hikes, like the different hikes that we do with the recruits, and we practice like running. So we'll have like what they call DI teams. So like you'll pretty much be like the DIs or the drill instructors for that day or that event, and you pretty much have to like act like a drill instructor. So like running around, screaming, catching, like making corrections, creating that discipline and that chaos. But it was fun. I love DI school. It's probably the easiest thing that we did. Like, it sucked, but it's probably the easiest thing you'll do if you ever go.
So what made it suck for you personally? What do you think was like the worst?
I didn't think it sucked at all.
The worst aspects of it? Nothing?
No. I had fun with it. I think it's more of just, like, when you go there, like, you're with, like, a bunch of sergeants and staff sergeants. You've been in the Marine Corps for a while, and having to be humble enough to know where you're at. Right? So, like, that was the biggest thing. Is, like, you have issues with, like, people that come in who aren't humble, and they think they're the shit. Because we're the top 10% of the Marine Corps. like that go. So you have all the hotheads, all the fucking
So
like
do you apply or do you get
you
given
put in a
orders?
package. Yeah, you put in a drill instructor package, and then it gets reviewed by the board, and they make the decision. But
Okay.
since we're hurting for drill instructors, they normally like as long as you have like a first class PFT, CFT, like your stats are good pretty much. Like physically, you're good, and you didn't have any like disciplinary issues, then you're usually good. So that was like the one thing I didn't like is you have some Marines that would go that just were fucking arrogant.
Yeah.
And like they don't know that you're going into something new. So like you're pretty much like a junior Marine all over again. Like you're going into a new MOS,
Right.
you're going into something that you've never done before. So you have to like be humble that this sergeant, if you're a staff sergeant, that the sergeant that's been a drill instructor for 3 years knows a lot more than you,
Yeah.
and they're a higher billet than you because this is something new for you that you've never done before.
Yeah.
So, but it was good. I loved DI school. It was great.
Well, that's
Good
good.
people.
I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear you liked it.
You know, I fucking
It doesn't surprise me.
yeah.
It doesn't surprise
I
me.
really like.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. Like a lot of people hate it, but I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
a good time. Yeah.
That's good shit. So you go through your. So you said it was 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I was curious about that, about whether or not you had to apply, because like, the huge just fucking problem that I hear that's like with today, because like the military in general is hurting for numbers. So you get a lot of recruits that are just fat bodies, or just that it's like, why are you, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And so I would imagine then, because since you get, like you said, you're going back to the basics, you have to actually apply to it. Like these, in theory, the Marines going to the drill instructor school, they should be already on the ground running, as it were. Like they should already be
So like that's why we
good at
have
what they do.
like when you apply, that's why they look at like your PFT, CFT because you have to keep at a good physical standard.
Yeah.
And you run one when you get there. So like if you fail, normally like they'll drop you from the course.
No shit.
But we're hurting for female drill instructors for sure. So like they do like incentive because no one wants to do DI duty because it sucks. Like no one wants to do it. Like they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
So they have like bonuses. So like you'll get a bonus if you volunteer for it.
shit.
And like we have the HIST, which is pretty much like they volunteer you to go. So a lot of people try to avoid the HIST and just volunteer because like you're gonna go anyway, so might as well just go on your own terms.
And get the bonus.
Yeah, and get the bonus.
Yeah.
The bonus is a big thing for people because I guess nowadays money's like a big thing.
But money's always a big thing.
yeah.
I don't know what fucking universe you live in.
Dude, I told you when I was right here, I could be a hobo, and as long as I'm happy, I don't give a fuck, dude.
So you graduate after 3 months of going through that, and they send you to Parris Island.
Well, we're already at Parris Island.
Oh,
So the schools,
okay.
the DI schools are normally on. So like even during DI school, we have this thing called observation. And after the pandemic, I think they just started doing it again. So observation is when you're in school, but you get to train with the recruits. So you'll be with the drill instructors. So you get like a chance to kind of see what you're about to get into.
Because at this point, you haven't seen drill instructors in what, 3 to 5 years?
I mean, we see them, but you don't get a feel what it's like.
Well, you're not in the environment with
Yeah.
drill instructors.
Yeah,
Because how long have you been in now?
it'll be 7 years in November.
Jesus Christ.
No, dude.
7 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in 7 years, and how long in were you before you became a DI?
4.
4 years? Okay.
Yeah, it was my reenlistment incentive. So when I reenlisted, that was my incentive, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you finish up the course, and you get sent to your first class.
Yeah, so like normally you'll get 30 days of leave, but my class, the COVID hit right at the end of my course. So they sent us straight to work because we couldn't get leave because we couldn't leave the state.
Because
So
of lockdown.
I didn't
right.
even get like that 30 days because like normally you get 30 days of leave to like see your family or get everything ready,
Like
like prepare
decompress a little
yourself.
bit.
Yeah, and we went straight to work.
So what part of 2020 is this happening?
I graduated in March. It's like right when everything happened.
When everything
Yeah.
hit the fan.
Yeah, so graduated in March. My first cycle was probably April. So I went like straight, like we did get a break. Like we got 2 weeks of leave, but it was like in-state leave and we couldn't really do anything. So I was like, finding an apartment and all that other shit.
Yeah.
And then I picked up my first cycle, I think in April. Maybe, what's after April?
May.
May. Yeah, sorry. Fuck. Like May or April is when I first picked up like my first cycle.
Damn. Okay. So what do you think, like, is obviously I'd like to know like what the days are like, but as far as like differences between like how businesses ran before and now businesses is being ran because of COVID. Mm-hmm. What kind of restrictions were put on you guys?
I mean, we had the masks. We had to wear masks the whole time. keep that 6 foot, so we couldn't get close to the recruits.
So you had to like stare directly at the dude you're yelling at, but like get 6 feet past.
Yeah,
I'm
so we had
yelling
our
at
6
you,
feet
motherfucker.
difference. So it kind of helped us scream a little louder. We had temperature checks, like, cause this was when like everything first happened. Like in my first cycle, we got hit with COVID. Like we quarantined our whole fucking company,
Right.
And like I got COVID and all this other shit. But they had like temperature checks, every night, like twice a day, 3 times a day. The recruits get temperature checks. The drone soldiers get temperature checks. Wear our masks. Fucking. That's pretty much it. We
Was any training kind of put on hold or like?
It was just changed. So like we did like McMAP, which is like Marine Corps martial arts program. So like they couldn't do certain things, or like the buddy that the recruit had for PTs, like that was your buddy that you had the whole time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
how was the living quarters changed? Because like the
we had less recruits.
Interesting. So they just
and they
shortened
just
the classes.
so the racks were like separated for
right.
like 6 feet.
Right.
So the racks were separated, and we had less recruits in the squad base. So we got bigger squad base. Well, not bigger squad base, but they just kind of decreased. So when COVID was ending, we had like an influx of fucking recruits. Like now we have bigger herds and more cycles and more cycles and more cycles.
I was just thinking like that's got to be one of the hardest things to mitigate in that environment.
Oh,
because like motherfuckers are together. Like
yeah, and what sucks is like in San Diego they didn't have as many COVID issues because they could just open the windows and have like fresh air and shit. Like us, like it's humid as fuck. So like it's just a bad environment, and like our AC sometimes would go out because the buildings suck. So like because you're in like this muggy environment, of course, like fucking bacteria spreads.
Yeah.
So like we did everything we could, like made sure they obviously hygiene and all that stuff. Like we would clean everything all the time, have the recruits fucking spray down everything like all the time. But I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
Like,
It's just, I'd imagine it just gets to a point where it's like, yes, I mean, make sure people don't get sick in general. Like hygiene is important in general.
I will say, so like there used to be this thing called recruit crud, is what we call it. Like when drone soldiers get, and like you just get sick. Like I got sick when I was a recruit because you're in this environment with like all these different people and training and stuff. Because of all the COVID mitigations, they like just getting sick in general, like less recruits are getting sick nowadays. And like because COVID's over or kind of over, we still have our like mitigations, I guess. We still have masks or whatever. We don't do temperature checks as much. We still keep our distance or whatever. But because we're putting in place, we're taking more approach on like making sure they stay cleaner. I guess I mean, it's recruit training. You're not going to be very clean the whole time.
And not only that, but I mean, you're getting, because how many, in one class of recruits, how many do you have?
Depends on what company, but I know I was in Papa Company, which was the first integrated company in 4th Battalion. So we have males and females.
Yeah.
We had 80 girls.
80 females.
Mm-hmm.
How many total?
Like in the whole company?
Yeah.
Like, shit. Lead and follow. Maybe like 500.
Jesus Christ.
Kids. Yeah.
500?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've got 500 people coming from all parts of the country.
Yeah, and like even in the world too, because we have all our kids from like outside the country.
Right. So, like, you're bringing all this kind of bacteria anyway.
Yeah.
So people are going to get all fucked up no matter what. So like, they learn how to sweep and mop and disinfect really fucking well.
You learn how to clean and recruit training. For sure.
That's funny. So like you were saying how like the martial arts portion, your combatives portion had to get altered.
Mm-hmm. Like we couldn't do certain things. So like pugil sticks or like the things you see on like the videos when they're like doing pugil sticks or
giant
fighting.
like cotton swab looking things.
Yeah. Like we couldn't do that because obviously they have to wear the pads and shit. So now like they disinfect them before they put them on the recruits.
You should probably do that anyway.
Yeah, they did, but they just do it like before during COVID, it was like take it off one kid, put it on the other kid,
right?
Like, keep moving, you know. So now it's like you fucking wipe it down before you put it on the next kid. So
you get what you probably should have been doing anyway. That's funny. So being a female drill instructor, what is that like experience like? Like what is that like? Not like what does that mean to you? But like you know, like kind of what's that experience like? Because everyone like the view. I feel like the view of the Marine Corps post 19 like I think 84, 86 is when it came out. It will always be Full Metal Jacket.
yeah,
It will always be Arlie Ermy telling a dude he's gonna shit down his throat.
Yeah.
Like, that's always going to be
Let
the
me see your
view.
war cry.
Yeah, that's always going to be the Marine Corps. It's going to be that or the subsection of people that watch Jarhead and now they
Yeah.
think that Afghanistan was just sitting on a pile of dirt all day.
Yeah.
Which, from what I've heard, that's kind of what it was for a lot of people, unfortunately. But in popular culture, at least from what I've seen, and, you know, I watch a lot of fucking movies. Aside from like G.I. Jane,
Yeah.
you know, which was kind of like a parody movie almost. Like, there's not a lot of media about women in the military, let alone female drill instructors.
Yeah.
So what's that like? You know, how's that been for you?
I mean, I don't really know. I feel like we definitely are hardworking girls that fucking. I feel like a lot of females feel like we have like a lot to prove, and that's just being a female in the military in general. Like when you're in the military, like it seems like you always have to fucking go the extra mile to be up to par with the males, you know. But I mean, we get a lot of. I don't even know how to answer that question, honestly, when it comes to that. I guess because you're right, because there's really not that much that people see when it comes to, like, females. I like it. I love being a drill instructor, and, like, I get a lot of people being like, wow, like, you're a drill instructor. That's crazy. Like, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's a good time. Like, we're a very small group of women, you know, not that many females, actually. That's why we're hurting so bad for, like, females, is you have to have, like, a passion for it. So we're very passionate. And I feel like we do work harder than the males, I'm not going to lie. Because I feel like, again, it's because we feel like we have something to prove. Like, we feel like we have to work 10 times harder because it's come so easy for males to be successful sometimes. So,
well, in environments like that, I mean, that what you just said doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. But I love it. And I think we're getting more, like, females are becoming a more bigger thing nowadays. Like, especially with, like, the whole trying to move females to the West Coast, too. Like, I'm definitely going to try to take my chance to be a drill instructor on the West Coast, for sure.
Over at Parris,
at San Diego.
The Marine Corps Depot, right.
Yeah. So, like, if I get a chance, if that becomes, like, a thing, if I did a second tour, I definitely would try to go over there because I think it'd be a great experience to, like, do that.
So, have you only been, because, right, so I didn't even know the Marines were doing integrated right now. So, have you only been in integrated companies?
My first 2 cycles, it was just normal, like, pop-up company was whatever, and then we were the first company in 4th Battalion ever, because they had integration with, like, the male companies. Like, you have, like, companies that were, like, battalions, so, like, 4th Battalion was always known as, like, the female battalion.
Right.
But
so
now,
it's all female recruits and all female DIs.
Yeah. I mean, it's still kind of that way. Like, the way it's integrated is, like, so you have different decks, right? So you have 3 decks.
Well, kind of like NIMI, right?
Yeah.
We had
so, like,
3 tubes.
you have 3 decks. So, like, the bottom deck is male platoons, females, and then males. So, like, I don't have male recruits, but they're in my company. So, like, I'll still scream at them when we're at training because we all train together. But back in the squad bays, it's still separated.
Okay,
That's
that makes
how
sense.
It's integrated. Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
It's not like integrated where, like, I'm, like, on the male deck and they're my recruits.
Right. So unless you guys are, like, out on a range or you're out at, like, an obstacle course or you're doing, like,
I mean, and there are some instances, like, if we're at PT, like, we have different series is what we call them. So, like, you have 3 platoons and 3 platoons, right? So you have lead and follow. And during PT sessions, I mean, shit, sometimes there's not, like, all the drill instructors aren't there. So, like, I would have, like, male recruits that I would be in charge of for that PT session.
Right.
It's more like the hygiene part is when we separate.
Like,
and, like
beginning,
the living
the
part
end of
is
the
separate.
day.
Yeah.
You're really just operating in that second,
the
second deck. Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting that you guys are, like, kind of sandwiched in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, at first we were going to be, like, first deck, but they just, I don't know. Sometimes they'll change. It really just doesn't.
Okay,
because like, one day, the next cycle, they could change it up if they wanted to. It's just easier to keep the females on, like, one deck on the series. So we could be on third deck or we can be on first deck. Like,
I always thought, like thinking back in NIMI, right? Because all the females live on the third stoop. I was kind of figured out because, well, if they're all the way up there, you'll be able to see the dude fucking skirting up there.
I mean, there's no chance that female recruits and male recruits ever interact like that. Because we have our duties, like, we're there 24/7. We have our fire watch or, like, rifle watch that the recruits do, so they make sure that, like, when we lock the hatches too at nights, like, no one can get
batten down the hatches.
Yeah, so we lock the hatches because, I mean, the females, we've always locked the hatches just in case, you know.
That's like the front door, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so, like, we have, like, hatches in the front and the back of the squad base, so, like, they get locked, they get secured, like, just because you never know if someone could fucking come on the base and just fucking fuck shit up. So
that's a sad fact.
yeah.
Actually, Jesus, I wasn't even thinking of that. I just thought you kind of keeping away the horny recruits, but no, it's an actual hazard because of active shooters.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So do you guys like do any kind of active shooter drill, or is that like kind of like
I know that PMO does. Like they just had a drill a few.
What's
like,
PMO?
It's like military police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's like the gate guards and shit.
Yeah.
So they have training where like we'll do like base training or like, hey, today we're doing a fucking simulation of this or that or like fucking whatever. So they do have their like little training that they do. But
damn. So damn, that fucking sucks. So when you guys kind of have that, you guys have a pretty good system to mitigate the, I guess, fraternization amongst the sexes. Yeah.
Yeah, so we still keep we integrate it to where like the recruits still train together. Like they'll split up and like sometimes males are with females, but like obviously in terms of like sleeping and shit, like we separate them.
Right.
But we're trying to get it to where like we're the Marine Corps, and eventually like we need to get to that point where females and males can work together.
Do you think that true integration is possible?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because in my head, like when I was deployed, I was with the grunts and I was on the female engagement team, and we were with the males. Like we were integrated with them.
Right.
I think it's just it depends on the maturity of like who goes into it. You know what I mean? Like on both males and female side. Like in my head, I don't give a fuck. Like you're there for a job. Who gives a shit? You know? But I think it's more on like the type of generation that comes up and the maturity of the people. Like there's definitely a bunch of people that could probably do full integration type shit and not have issues, but fucking we're not perfect. There's always gonna be flaws.
I mean, we're animals.
Yeah, so
we're built for a few core things.
Yeah, something's always gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
And it's not an issue of like what I hate is when something happens and all of a sudden it's like something happens with one person and all of a sudden it's that whole group that's the issue.
Well, I feel like that overcorrection is just
and
a
that's
staple.
like what sucks about being a female just in the military in general is like one thing happens then all of a sudden like the whole population is put on this fucking
you put on
like
trial,
labeled this way because of one person's stupidity type thing.
No, for sure.
So,
well, because I remember like these just kind of two examples of the black and white. Like there was one example where I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, it kind of broke the news where a female that was in Ranger School got pregnant.
Yeah.
Right. But then on the flip side of that, I got a friend of mine who's in the Guard, the National Guard for the Army here in New Mexico, and she went to Ranger School. And I asked her, I was like, "What the fuck was that like?" Like as not only just the school itself, but like as a female. Like, well, how did they like? Because I think she was the only female there because they're slowly trickling, and they obviously just like you said, because of the one person fucking something up, everything gets set back.
Yeah, and kind of like with females joining the infantry now, like being able to be O3s, like people have so much stipulation, like, oh, it's a bad idea, blah blah. Bitch, like.
Yeah, well, because she went and she was like, honestly, they didn't give a shit. I slept in the same bay with the guys. We were taking integrated showers because we only had 30 seconds to fucking shower.
Yeah.
Like at times, I think she said like her entire company who had like, I think there was like starting out like 50 something in her class. And she was like, yeah, the entire platoon, the entire class had 8 minutes to shower. Like I barely felt the water at that point. So I was like, if they wanted to fucking look, well, then they're being little perverts. But we've got fucking 8 minutes to get in and get out.
That's what I'm saying is like you have the few that are good to, like fuck that no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
But then yes, you have the ones that there's always going to be an issue. So like kind of like with the female getting pregnant, like okay, shit happens. Like she made a dumb mistake. What I hate is that like okay, what about the guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like yeah, she got pregnant, but fuck, like
it
takes two to tango.
Yeah. No, it was the Holy Spirit, and she
magically the next Virgin Mary. Like, fuck.
That's funny. So how many classes have you been through?
I've done 3 cycles.
3 cycles?
Since I got hurt, yeah.
What do you think was like the thing you had to like work on for yourself, kind of like get past?
Just honestly figuring it out. Like your first cycle always sucks. Getting your feet, like my feet, because as a drum instructor, you run almost like 30 miles a day just from like running around and sprinting around and doing all that stuff. So I think just getting like I lost 30 pounds. Like, I was like 150. Like I was, because I was gymming, like, you know me, like I went to the gym all the time. And I lost like 30 pounds, like my first cycle.
Yeah, I was gonna say
just
because
from,
like I remember before DI, you started being a DI, you were fucking yoked.
Yeah. No, I'm just tiny.
No, you look good now,
Thank
but
you.
like you used to like your back was
Yeah,
like a fucking falcon, man.
I was a big motherfucker. Yeah, because like we don't really have the time to eat that much. Like we barely have time to drink water. And you're just running and screaming in like this hot fucking weather. Because my first cycle was during like the hot months. So that was just like the toughest part was just physically getting used to it and like learning something new that it's stressful for us. Like you're up at 2 a.m. and you stay up until fucking 10 o'clock at night. And so just getting your body used to that. Like I used to have like night sweats my first cycle, like really bad night sweats, fucking.
Oh wow.
So that was probably the toughest thing. But other than that, like I loved it. Like I loved doing it.
Do you think like that's a really big misconception with like the drill sergeant, drill instructor like position? Because like obviously when people think of boot camp, and they think of basic trainings, they only think about the recruit. Where it's like that dude's life fucking sucks. It must be great to be the drill instructor because they're not doing shit. They're just yelling and screaming.
Yeah, no, it fucking sucks.
But like I feel like there's a real dark side of that moon that not a lot of people really think about.
And that's why I hate when people have their opinions because unless you've done it, you don't understand what we go through or like the stress that we go through.
So what's like the average day? Like why would like a day of being a drill instructor in boot camp?
Okay, so lights is at 4 a.m. We got to be there like at 3:30. So for me, like I'll wake up at I have short hair, so I can just wake up fucking.
So I imagine you're getting up at what 2:30, 2 in the morning.
You wake up the recruits, you get them ready for the day. Sometimes you have 15 minutes to get them dressed. Sometimes you have an hour, depending on your chow time. Get them dressed, get them hygiene, brush their little fucking teeth, get the gear that you need. You go off to chow. You march them to chow. You eat chow. After that, you go to the first event, which is sometimes it's classes, depending on where you're at in training. It'll be classes, or it'll be PT, or it'll be something like that. If it's PT, we do PT, still running and screaming.
So what time is this in the morning when you're doing PT?
We do, depending on the time, because the heat is so bad during the summer, their PT will be at like 5 a.m.
Right.
Or 6.
So I kind of want to break this down.
Okay.
So like, because I hear stories about how at some, regardless of what the branch is, like some basic training, some boot camps, like it'll be like as far as the intensity from the drill instructor or drill sergeant, it'll be like fucking 10 out of 10, 100%. Like the world is ending now. I'm fucking screaming at you. I might as well be.
That's us 24/7.
Like wringing your neck. So that happens in the beginning, no doubt.
As soon as you wake up.
Right. But does that intensity stay the entirety of the boot camp?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So we have like transitions where like when they start getting later in training towards the crucible, we'll back off a little bit, but we're the Marine Corps.
But for the most part, it's like no shit.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, I'm going to.
Yeah, we're not like the Army or the Air Force.
Like
no offense.
rip your fucking hair off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you get them up. They're relatively
shit, shower, shave.
Yeah. Shit, shower, shave. Now you're doing PT at like 5 a.m. How long does that last?
Like an hour.
Okay.
And then we get them hygiened, get them dressed again, get their packs done. We'll be at our first event by like 7.
And they've already eaten by now. Okay.
So 7, do training, classes, whatever it may be, McMap, whatever's on the schedule, and then we'll have chow in the afternoon, which is around like 11:30 to 1300 is like the time frame of when your chow will be. And then
because I'd imagine that's like chow for for all of the Marine recruits going through boot camp. Like you've got an hour and a half to get, because how many?
Well, our chow times would only be like 20 minutes.
Right, exactly. So you got an hour and a half to get like with thousands of fucking recruits, I'd imagine, right? Through the chow hall. Jesus Christ.
We have separate chow hall, like different chow halls in certain parts of the base. And then after chow, same thing, you go back to whatever you're doing. And then you have evening chow and then evening BDR, which BDR is just basic daily routine. So that's like hygiene. So like we'll get them dressed, do hygiene inspections, so we inspect them every night to make sure that they didn't get hurt or fucked up that day.
What time is that, give or take?
Normally around like 1800, so like 6 o'clock. And then they have free time from like 6:45 to 7:45. So free time is like, so the recruits have like time to like write letters or do whatever the fuck. It's their time. We don't fuck with them during that time. You do mail calls.
They have an hour to breathe.
Yeah, so they have an hour to breathe. Then we do mail before that. So mail would be before their free time. So pass out the mail so they can read it and shit.
Right.
And then 15 minutes before we'll have like devotions, so they're 5 minutes of devotions so they can pray and do all that shit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then lights, which will be at 2000.
So they're in bed at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, feels like later for them, but yeah.
Well, right, that's a long fucking day.
Yeah, because they're required 8 hours of sleep.
Okay.
Of uninterrupted sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, but you mentioned something called rifle
watch. So it's like a duty that the recruits do. So they learn how to be like pretty much kind of like when they get to the fleet when you're on like post or something like that. They get a feeling for that. So they'll have like an hour of rifle watch or 2 hours of rifle watch where 3 recruits are up at all times to like log in the logbook, what's going on deck, clean, do laundry, clean the head, shit like that.
Right. Okay. Just
make sure that no one comes in.
Maintain shit, the fucking place doesn't burn down.
Yeah, and then you have the duty drone that's there that will like when I'm on duty, I'll be up. I don't usually sleep when I'm on duty. I'll usually just go fuck with the fire watch.
No shit.
Well, not fuck with them. I train them and make sure they know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, right. Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. Or like depending on their training, they'll do like taskers for the next day. Like, hey, we have this the next day, so make sure that like all these are done for like the next day. All the gear's good, type shit.
So I'm sure it's happened at least once in the history of the Marine Corps. So what happens if you catch some poor little recruit asleep on rifle watch?
They're in the pit the next day.
In the pit?
Yeah.
What, you take them to the fucking brig?
It's a sand pit. So we have IT, right, in the Marine Corps.
The dungeon?
We have the IT in the Marine Corps, right? So that's like legal hazing. So IT is incentive training. So that's like the...
Incentive training?
Yeah. So that's like when drill soldiers will take them out and like you see like when we're fucking like making them like fucking do exercise.
You just fucking with them.
The pit's the sand pit.
Okay.
So that's where we do most of it, IT. So if I find a kid asleep on fire watch, they know the next day they're fucked.
Some physical punishment.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my favorite. That's tight. You're going to wake up at 10 runners the next day.
So how do you what do you find is the most effective way of getting that punishment across? Because I'm sure there's a absolute fucking there's hundreds of ways to fuck with somebody physically, right? So what have you found over the 3 cycles that you've done?
Well, you have to follow the RTO,
right?
So IT is it, or just attention to detail. Make them just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So oh tight, there's still dust, so you're still gonna clean. Scuff some more. Come back to me. Nope, scuff some more.
I've seen videos on the internet of drill instructors and drill sergeants. They'll find a locker that's unlocked or a bed that's not made properly, and they what we had at noon was tornadoing the room. Is that allowed in the Marine Corps now? You can't trash the bay or anything like that. Damn.
Yeah. I
remember that being that happened to me when I first started, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking. It's just a little fucking. A little tiny thing, so I couldn't even imagine. Because I'd imagine your squad bays are decently sized, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would fucking suck.
Yeah.
So kind of back to what I was originally asking though, what because power in general is a human problem. Mm-hmm. So do you notice maybe in yourself or other fellow drill instructors that that first start, they get that first sense of I'm the shit. I'm God. I am now God, right?
Yeah, and that's the type of drill instructors that get RFC'd or get in trouble and they get kicked off the drill field. When they take it, with all the issues that you hear about, when drill instructors do off the wall shit that they're not allowed to, it's that.
Right.
We actually learned about that in DI school. They go over this study in this college back in the 1900s or some shit.
Oh, was it the Stanford Prison Experiment?
Yes. So they actually do
that. 1960s.
Yeah. So they actually show us that in DI school because that's basically the same thing. You get this belt and cover, and everyone all of a sudden think you have all this power.
Did you guys watch the documentary or the movie?
We watched the documentary.
Watch the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's fucking legit. I've seen.
Or it might have been. I don't know what we watched, but they went over it and they explained think about it, the drill instructors are the fucking cops.
The guards.
The guards, right? So you have people like that, but that's why we have each other. So we keep each other in check. I know I've had to tell myself plenty of times when this kid just pisses you off and you just
I'm gonna wring his neck.
They just piss you off because you're dude, this kid has my whole career in their hands. If this kid doesn't like me, they could say something and then my whole career is ruined because of this one fucking kid that just is not right for the Marine Corps. But you can't let yourself get into that mindset. You got to be no, it's not that serious. At the end of the day, these recruits are still going to graduate. At the end of the day, this training is still going to go on. At the end of the day, if something happens to you, there's still going to be another drill instructor to fill those shoes. or your team has to suffer for it.
Because the military needs to work that way.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, people need to be replaceable.
Yeah. So you get mad because you're like, I'm not eating, I'm not fucking sleeping, I'm up all the time, I'm fucking killing myself for what? For this fucking privileged little shithead that wanted to be a fucking hero and doesn't know where the fuck they're at. And you have the ones with attitudes, the recruits or whatever. And I've had to catch myself a few times where I'm like, fuck, like, okay, just, it's not that serious. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But you just get so mad, and then you think about it, like, this kid has my career in their hands. Like, if they say that I did something wrong, I could be kicked out of the Marine Corps. I could get RFC'd, which is really for cause, which is pretty much like getting fired, right? Like, these kids literally have so much power in their hands that they don't understand. And then it's not at the end of the cycle where they realize once they graduate, like, wow, like, okay, like, now I understand why my drill instructors made me do this. Like, it was annoying and I hate them for it, but now I understand that it made me better. So you have kids like that don't understand the process. They don't understand what they signed up for. They just fucking were like, you know what, fuck it, let's do this.
So whenever you do have those, like, problem people that they either just can't keep their fucking mouth shut, they don't know the left from the right, you know, whatever the problem is. Not even including just, like, as I'd imagine there are people who are just straight up dumb and they become a safety hazard. But, like, what have you found so far that's, like, the best way to mitigate that? Because I think that's a leadership challenge, like, everywhere, no matter where it is, whether you're in the military, whether you're in a generic office space and everything in between. There's just always going to be, as a supervisor or as a manager, as whatever it is, there's going to be that one worker who doesn't do what the fuck they're supposed to do.
I mean, so it's even in our, like we'll train them as far as we can and do exactly, like, as much as we can. But if the kid's not good, then we just drop them.
No shit.
Yeah. Like, if it's really that bad, like, bye.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah. But, I mean, I've had kids that, like, they have potential. They just have attitudes, you know. They grew up in a bad place, or they're not affected by all the screaming because, you know, they grew up in a bad spot growing up.
Right.
But those are always, like, the ones I love seeing grow. Like, you see them, like, when they first get here and you hate them because they just have an attitude. They don't want to scream back. They move slow. And as long as you, like, stay on them and just fucking pretty much train them and just keep yelling at them or keep making them do the same shit over again or IT them, eventually they kind of, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, when they realize, like, why they're there.
So I would imagine, like, on the flip side of all that, one of the biggest rewards out of being a drill instructor is, like, seeing this, like, little primordial substance of a human, like, become.
Yeah, and that's exactly, like, why.
Marine.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I mean, we make basically train Marines. So there's some kids that I graduate where I'm like, you shouldn't fucking be here, but the Marine Corps will weed them out. Like, eventually they get weeded out. But that's probably the reason why I love doing it so much, and the reason why I fucking kill myself every day when I'm in cycles, because I love that feeling of knowing that, like, I'm making the next generation of Marines. Like, this girl that I'm giving this Eagle of an Anchor to that I just made a Marine might be the next fucking female colonel or the next general or the next sergeant major or whatever the case may be. And that's, like, such a cool feeling. And it's such a cool feeling knowing that you impact these kids' lives. Like, you'll always remember your drill instructors. If they did their job, you'll always remember who they were. And, like, that was always a cool thing. Like, whenever I had kids that would find, like, I hate that they found me. I'm like, bitch, like, why are you fucking talking to me? But at the same time, it feels good whenever they'd be like, hey, like, I just want to say thank you so much for, like, doing what you did. You know, like, I never had anything coming in here, and, like, you gave me a reason. You gave me motivation. You're the reason. Like, I want to be like you. Like, I love hearing it. Like, I want to be like you when I'm a sergeant. Like, you're the type of female Marine that I want to be like when I do my career. So I love that. Like, I love.
That's awesome.
I mean, you know me. I've always been like Like, I love motivating and just mentoring people.
Yeah.
And making them better. So, like, that's a really good reward, and, like, why when people become drill instructors, they have to be passionate for it. Like, you have to have a passion for it. Yeah. Or you just are gonna hate your life. Yeah. You have to have a reason of why you're there.
Well, I feel like now, you know, with the amount of divide there is in the country and the amount of disdain there is for almost at this point everything we're doing, there has to be those people in those roles. Yeah. You know, training, because people are easily malleable, for better or worse. Yeah. And if you don't have, you know, people in those positions of power and the positions of influence, really more than power, to shape and mold these people that are going to be the future leaders or the future whatever they're going to be of our military, they kind of need to have that mindset. Yeah. So that's awesome. So do you feel like as a female Marine, you're able to, like, set, like, that specific example of, like, you don't have to be this weak little, like, frail whatever. of a service member, not even just as a Marine, of just like a woman in the military.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You don't only have to be the admin role or the fucking payroll or the support.
Yeah.
Like, you can go do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And I definitely hear that a lot. A lot of people say I'm an above average female, which is kind of true, I guess. I'm very up there with the boys or whatever. But I love being that example of letting people know, like, you don't have to be subpar. Like, if you're good enough and you fucking strive for that, like, you can fucking keep up with the boys. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I used to have male Marines all the time, and I used to fucking run circles around them and just let them know, like, see, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
And there's females out there that are possible, especially the ones becoming O3s. Like, if I enlisted around the time where I could have been a legit infantry O3, I definitely would have done it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I did that pretty much when I deployed. Like, I was with the FET. We did everything the guys did. We kept up, fucking did our part, and we showed that it's possible.
Right.
But that's also, like, why I like the idea of the whole, like, the few and the proud is because, yes, there's not that many, but it's still possible. I'd rather have 10 amazing Marines that know what the fuck they're doing rather than 100 fucking idiots that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No, yeah, quality over quantity.
Yeah, and that's why, like, that's why I love being in, like, the Marine Corps. Like, we're such a small branch, but you know we're the best. Like, you know that we'll fucking get it done.
Right.
So, as a female even, because we're even, like, the fewer, like...
Yeah. What percentage do you think of the military, or of the Marines, are female? If you just had to guess off the top of your head.
Fuck, maybe, like, 3%.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. So what would be, like, if you had to give, like, an elevator pitch? Like, what do you think would be, like, this is why? If someone you're right, not everyone should be a Marine, not everyone should be in the military, right? So, like, what if a woman kind of like felt that, it's like, maybe I should join the fucking Marine Corps, but, like, it's a dude thing, it's a masculine thing, it's a killing thing. Like,
yeah.
Like, if you had, like, a little elevator pitch, what would it be, like, for the Marines? Like, why do you love it? You know, before you went to DI school and started, like, really doing some cool shit.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a Marine since I was in, like, 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Just being a part of the community, like, the Marine Corps is such a close family, and I'd say it's probably the closest branch. Like, I mean, once they say once a Marine, always a Marine. Like,
right.
You'll never, like, you know a Marine when you see one, and that's the crazy thing for me. It's like, you know, like, when you're walking down the street, like, I get it all the time. Like, you're in the military. I can see it. Not even just the haircut. Like, you act different. You're a different standard of person.
The way they carry themselves, for sure.
And it's like, even if you get out, like, you still have such a connection with all these people. Like, it's like one demented family. You know what I mean? And the Marine Corps is just, if you want to be something bigger than you are, like, when you have people that are like, oh, I just don't know if I could do it, like, then that's your problem. Like, you have to have that drive.
Yeah.
And if you want it, you'll fucking do it. And the Marine Corps is a good fucking example of it. Like, because it's not easy. Boot camp's not easy. The Marine Corps is not easy by any means, but life isn't easy. But it brings me back to always having that passion for something. Like, if you really want to fucking do it, you can do it. And I love being that example for females. A lot of people tell me that I can kind of fill that role as the example. Like, she can fucking do it, so you know you can do it. Like, if I can do it, you can fucking do it. Like, you can get yourself to that point where you can keep up, where you can do anything that you want, honestly.
Right.
And that's what I tell Marines all the time. I'm like, look, like, the Marine Corps is not for everybody. But if you want to do it, then you just have to fucking do it. Like, there's really nothing more I could say, because it's not my life, it's your life. So if you want something, you got to fucking put in the work for it. If you want to be a Marine, you got to put in the work for it. If you want to be a Marine and fucking succeed, you got to put in the work for it. Like, but only you can do it.
Yeah.
So it's all back to having that drive or that passion for something that you want to do that will make your life happy. And if it's not for you, then you get out.
Yeah.
And that's okay, as long as you have a plan. Like, I have junior Marines that always talk to me. And I was like, I don't know if I want to get out or stay in. And I'm like, honestly, like, I always tell my junior Marines, like, I'll never force anyone to stay in or try to convince them to do something different. But I like to tell them, I'm like, look, like, honestly, your first 4 years are going to suck in anything. Because you're the new person. You're a junior Marine. You're the bottom of the totem pole. You're going to do all the shit jobs. You're going to be cleaning. It's not going to be fun, right? But you don't really get to see what the organization is all about. So I used to tell people, like, honestly, like, I told myself I'd do 8 years and then decide if I wanted to stay in or not. Because by 8 years, I'm making decisions now. So, like, your first 4 years, you don't see the ins and outs. You don't see why we make them do what they, like, why we have you do what you're doing.
Right.
So I used to tell my Marines, I'm like, look, like if you have a solid plan to get out, like you'll be good. Like you have a job or you have a goal, you're going to go to college, and dope, fucking do it. If you don't and you still are on the fence, stay in at least another 4 years, because then you can really see if the Marine Corps is what you want to do. Because now you're making decisions. Now you're seeing the other side of it. Now you're not the bottom of the totem pole. Now you're higher ranking. Now you get to see what the organization is all about. Then you can make your decision on, okay, this is something I want to stay in, or something I really want to get into. But at the end of the day, because you have Marines that get out and they're like, fuck, I should have stayed in, all this other shit. Because they don't realize that life fucking sucks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get out of the Marine Corps because of all the bullshit. But at the end of the day, they don't realize that.
They don't realize that
life fucking sucks.
I thought the Marine Corps would kind of teach you that.
Yeah, like, the Marine Corps sucks, and it has its bullshit. You just have to decide what bullshit you're willing to go through.
Right.
Right? So, like, I choose the Marine Corps. I love being a Marine. Like, I love it. Like, the Marine Corps is... I'm thoroughly indoctrinated. Like, I love the Marine Corps. I love everything about it.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
I drank the fucking Kool-Aid. All of it. And I always have friends that get out and they're like, dude, life's fucking rough. Like, because obviously, like, now you have to find a job. Like, you don't get a paycheck, steady paycheck. You don't really know what you're doing, right? And that's what I tell some, like, even the Marines that I had that got out. I'm like, look, man, like, bullshit's everywhere. Shit's gonna happen. Like, yeah, the Marine Corps sucks for you because it sucks for everybody, and there's always bullshit. But yes, the civilian life ain't so hot either. Like, just life in general, there's going to be bullshit and there's going to be shit that you're going to go through in life. And you just have to decide what you're willing to deal with. Which bullshit you want to go. You know, which bullshit you're willing to go through that's still going to make you happy. Because life isn't fucking perfect. Maybe for some people, I guess they have like a fuck ton of money. But even then, you still have issues you gotta fucking overcome. Yeah. So... when you let the Marine Corps, all this, like, bad shit that happened, or you think it's stupid, you really got to take a step back and look at, all right, this sucks, but also this is going to suck too. So which suck am I willing to fucking
put up with?
Yeah. Which suck am I willing to fucking go through?
So let's say I'm a Marine. I'm about to get out.
Yeah.
What, like, because I think that is a pretty decently sized problem in this country is homelessness, but homeless veterans, right? So what transition programs, because I feel like the military can't be standing as long as it is without having some sort of like transition program to get out and go to college, get a job. Now, with that being said, my always thought was like, well, I'm sure they have that. And maybe, because like there's always that, I mean, I've changed enough jobs in the last year that I know what it feels like to finally get out of a shitty job. Yeah. Right. And you're only focused on getting out. You will sign whatever papers you need to. You will do whatever it requires to get the fuck out. And you kind of tunnel vision that. So do you think that, like, as Marines are getting out, especially if they're getting out for the first contract, life has only sucked. It's only been cleaning and taking shit and getting shat on. And maybe they had a horrible deployment or they had a bad training rotation or whatever it was. So that finally when that golden light comes and they're like, I'm out, they don't really, like, pay attention to, like, okay, yeah, the Marine Corps treated you like shit for the last 3.5 years, but guess what, bud? You've got 6 months left. Here are the resources to getting out. Yeah. Do you think they just ignore it? And they're like, go fuck yourself. I want nothing to do with the Marine Corps. I want nothing to do with the military.
I think that's a person thing. So we have TRS, which is like you have to take it when you're getting out. And that's, I don't even know what TRS stands for. But it's like the training that you get. Like, they teach you how to do resumes. They teach you how to fucking sign up for college. Like, we have our education offices. You can sign up for college. Like, it's a mandatory training that you have to do. Like, they pretty much making getting out a pain in the ass. Like, it's easier to stay in than to fucking get out of the Marine Corps. But, so you get all these resources. By design? Probably, shit. So you get these resources and you get this mandatory class that you have to take. It teaches you how to write your resume. It teaches you about jobs. It gives you resources to go find jobs. Like, it'll give you, like, links and, like, things that you want to do. So I think that's more on, like, the person and their character. Right. So you're getting all these resources, and it's up to you to use them. It's up to you to pay attention in that class. If you're serious about getting out and you want to have a good life and you're not just trying to fucking shoot it from the fucking hip or go live with your parents at the age of fucking 25, like, they give you everything that you need. The Marine Corps always provides everything that we need. It's just on the person if they're willing to accept it or use it. Right. So we definitely have a lot of good resources because the Marine Corps' main goal, if you actually ask about it, like, yeah, we're war fighters, but we're trying to give back better citizens into the community. That's, like, the goal of the Marine Corps. Is something you never hear. Yeah, so, like, no one ever actually thinks about it, but, like, in our doctrine, it's actually like they're trying to give back better citizens into the community.
Because when you look at ex-Marines now, it's like, yeah, that dude has got like the 1,000-yard stare. It's like that dude is really fucking loud because of, for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, we're psychopaths, don't get me wrong. Like, we're fucking crazy people, but best believe we're hard workers, you know what I mean? Like, and again, that like we teach them to be above standards, above the average person. And that kind of goes back to like, when you walk down the street and you know that that's a Marine. Like, you know that they're a Marine because of how they present themselves. Like, they have this, even after boot camp, you see it. Like, they used to be like fucking, like, just have an attitude or whatever, and now they're like, respectable, and hopefully they stay that way. She put so much fucking work into them. But so we have all the resources. Like, the Marine Corps helps you out, but it's up to Marines to actually go out and ask the questions. Like, closed mouths don't get fed. Like, you have to ask the questions. You have to go out and fucking do that. And that's a big deal with Marines, is sometimes they just don't think about that. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, that's literally all I say is, like, closed mouths don't get fed. Like, you have a fucking question, you need to ask a question or you're not going to get helped. You want to go do this? Well, if you don't ask about it, then it's not going to happen. Like, how is your command supposed to know that you want to deploy if you don't fucking talk about it? You don't ask them if there's a deployment you can go on, or vice versa. So, like, TRS and stuff, like, you have to ask questions like, hey, like, they teach you how to do a resume, so ask more questions. Like, this is the job that I want, so what should I be looking for? And that's another thing, too, is I love how even if you get out, like, there's so many people that are willing to help you. Like, I have friends that are like, hey, man, if you get out, like, you can fucking come work for me, or do this or do that. Like, I have a job for you, just ask type shit. Like, you never lose that bond with the people that you're with.
Right. No, that's good. And I think you're right. It really is on that person to take advantage of what's being given to them. And that's a good way to put it. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're having because one thing that, like, the military always has attached to it is that you have these benefits. Whatever the benefits are, a lot of benefits attached to you. But if you don't use them, you're kind of fucking yourself.
Yeah, like the GI Bill and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just to kind of get your opinion on it, like, certainly during COVID in general, there's a massive just spike in suicides, mental health problems, and just in general, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's locked up in their homes. I couldn't imagine getting locked up on a military base. Holy fuck. You're just locked up, don't have a whole lot to do. And I mean, obviously the military has to keep chugging on. Like, you can't just stop a military.
Yeah.
That's bad. So how, like, during your time of the 7 years, in your 7 years, like, because, like, it's become a lot more of the public conversation, has that conversation kind of changed? Because I've had, like, a lot of friends that are either in the Marines or just in the military in general. There's like, we don't really talk about mental health. It's like, we know we're fucked up and we just laugh about it and we drink and then we move on. But, things still happen.
Yeah. So
do you think that, like, that conversation is starting to change, or do you think there's more change that kind of has to happen?
I mean, in the Marine Corps, we have a lot of fucking resources, and there's so many things to help people. I think the issue, like, we talk about it all the fucking time. We get training all the time about it. And with that, I think it comes down to, again, the person. And Marines were very prideful, right? So you have Marines, like, we talk more of like, hey, like, it's okay if you need help. It's okay if you need to go see somebody. Like, it's not going to make you any weaker. And that was, like, with my own mental health. Like, I decided to go to therapy, and, like, I've had some friends that are like, dude, you go to therapy? Like, does it help you? Like, no way. Like, I didn't know you did that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, because I fucking needed it. Like, shit, So I think it goes back down to, we talk a lot more about, like, it's okay. Like, yeah, we're big bad Marines and we fuck shit up, but, like, it's okay if you need to go talk to somebody. Like, it doesn't make you any less of a Marine. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of who you are just because you need to work on yourself or you need a little bit of extra help. So, like, we've even, like, through my first few years in the Marine Corps, like, there was always training on it and stuff. And once something happens, there's more training on it. I think it always just comes back down to, like, having each other's back and seeing if someone's wrong and just letting them know, like, hey, man, like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Like, no one's going to look at you any fucking different. You're going to have people that fucking say shit because they always fucking do.
Because people are assholes in general.
And so, in that point, that's also when you just got to say, like, fuck it. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I started going to therapy because I go on Parris Island, like, where there are recruits that go. And I used to wear my 8-point cover. So we have our 8-point cover and our campaign cover. So I used to wear my 8-point cover, so like I didn't really like have people see me as like a drill instructor.
What's the difference?
Well, the round brown.
Well, there's a round brown.
So the round brown is the campaign cover.
Right.
The 8-point cover is our normal cover. So like when I walk around.
Oh, like the garrison.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to like.
Sorry.
What is?
Sorry, you're fucking National Guard. Okay, so the garrison cover, or like with your ACBDUs.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Yeah. So whatever. So I used to go with that, so that like I didn't have people look at me being like, oh, drill instructor's going to therapy, like, oh, like fuck, whatever. And then I was like, fuck it, like, who gives a shit? I don't care that I'm a drill instructor and people see me going to get help. Like at one point I just said, fuck it, like, who gives a shit? It's my fucking life, not theirs.
Yeah.
They want to say, if they want to take time out of their day to talk about how I'm going to therapy or I'm fucking getting help for myself, then they can go fuck. I really don't give a shit because they're not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, it's good shit.
So like at the end of the day, it's more of just, I think people care more about what people think about them, and that's something that I have had to work on. And as Marines, that whole getting help and suicide and all that stuff, like we have our issues, and we just don't want to talk to anyone about it. So that's why, like, I love how close we are. Like, you can have, like, that there's a Marine that, like, you don't even have to know them, but, like, oh, you have nowhere to go on the holidays? Like, fuck, dude, come to my house.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be alone, So I think that conversation our training definitely got out there more after the pandemic or whatever, about that type of stuff. But the resources are always there. It's more of just getting Marines to understand that it's okay.
Just opening your mouth.
Yeah.
And talking about it.
Again, it all goes back to you. Like, there's only so much the Marine Corps can do for you if you let them. Or friends in general. Like, there's only so much that I can do for a friend if they tell me what's going on. If they don't, and something happens, like, how do you expect me to help if you don't say anything? You know what I mean?
No, that's real shit. I mean, I think that would also be, that might be a good thing for whether it's a recruit seeing it or a junior Marine or anybody who's watching a drill instructor going into the like a behavioral health
like MHU is my mental health unit.
Yeah, because like yes, you have the fucking officers and commanders and colonels and all these big dick generals and all that, but like drill instructor, like again the fucking the mantra, the stereotype is like you're not even a person.
Yeah,
you're an object.
Yeah.
You are a...
Recruits are very interested when they used to see that, like, we're normal people.
Yeah, you're a thing, right? You're just this thing of this force of nature.
Yeah.
But, to see that force of nature needs, some little fine tuning.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good fucking symbol right there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So where do you because how many tours can you do in drill instructor duty?
I think So you can do 2 tours, like, as a drill instructor. By the time that happens, though, like, you'll be, like, a first sergeant. So I know first sergeants that are on, like, their 3rd or 4th tour. That just means that they went back to the island. So, like, there's a first sergeant there that's been there, this is their, like, 3rd time there. They did 2 tours as a drill instructor, and now they're first sergeant there.
Oh, so, wow.
Like, as an actual drill instructor, like, obviously, like, once you get to a certain rank, like, you can't really be an actual drill instructor anymore. So, like, past gunnery sergeant, like, we have some gunnery sergeant, or sergeant first classes. So, like, E7s, you have some of them that go there, and they'll be, like, chiefs and shit when you go back as your 2nd tour. So, like, 2 tours.
So, how long you decide to do that, but, like, where do you see your career going after that?
Honestly, my goal in the Marine Corps was to deploy and be a drill instructor. So, right now I'm kind of just, like...
waiting it out.
Yeah, I'm just going where they send me. I would love to deploy again, and then... if I went back for a 2nd tour again, I would love to try to go on the West Coast and do that and just be able to say that I was a drill instructor on both coasts. That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be fucking legit.
Yeah.
Well, no matter what the fuck you do, you're going to kill it, dude.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, drill instructor makes a lot of fucking sense. The Marine Corps makes a lot of fucking sense for you.
I hear that a lot.
Like, in the good way, though.
I hear that a lot.
I was like, oh, fuck, man. Jimmy over here's got his 3rd DUI.
Yeah.
Went to jail 5 times. Get this fucker in the military. Get some sense into it. But no, like, I think... the military really does need more individuals that know what the fuck they're doing and have a passion for that. Because I think just the energy. But like,
I told you, don't want this hippie shit like the universe, bro.
Yeah, but like the energy that a leader brings to an environment, even in something as chaotic and violent as a boot camp scenario, like that's infectious.
Yeah.
And so if they see that you give a shit, because I'd take a wild stab in the dark and say there's a couple of DIs that don't give a fuck while they're there.
Yeah.
They just want to do their time and get out.
Yeah.
And those people are going to affect recruits.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, well, my fucking drill sergeant doesn't give a shit, or my drill sergeant doesn't give a shit, so why am I?
Yeah.
You know, but then they see individuals like you, like, oh, well.
It's a fucking motard, dude.
Yeah.
I've always been a motard.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the one you don't want to look at, and that's the one you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, no, I think it's a good fucking thing, man.
Yeah, you know me, I don't give a fuck. Even before drill instructor, I was always known as like the motivated fucking sergeant in my unit. Like, I'm motivated. I don't give a shit. Like,
Good.
Like a lot of the times in the Marine Corps, people are like, "Oh, it's fucking motard over here, like fucking boot." I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, yeah, I love the Marine Corps. Like, I don't give a shit. It's great.
No,
like, you just have to make it great.
No, it's gonna that mindset is gonna take you really fucking far.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And I'm very excited and very interested what you're gonna do with your own podcast. What are you gonna call it? Do you know yet?
So, yeah. So, I got a nickname in the Marine Corps when I first joined. My corporal, she was driving me from the schoolhouse to my first unit, and she was like, "I don't like your last name."
Like, that's a very Marine thing.
I was like, all right. And so she ended up calling me Odie. So that's been my nickname, is like in the Marine, like I was Sergeant Odie. Like everyone knows me as Odie. So I think for my podcast, I was thinking Odie's Corner.
Nice.
Because I was like, you know, what should I do? Because I wanted something that was like original, something that no one, if you look it up, no one's really gonna find anything except for like that. You know what I mean? Because I had all these different ideas, but I think I'm gonna do with Odie's Corner. That was gonna be like the.
You already think like your SEO. That's funny.
Yeah.
The search engine. Fuck. My producer told me about this. Search engine optimization. How likely you are to get looked up.
Yeah. I just figured, because there's like other things where I was like, all right, like maybe like running my mouth, because I literally just like to talk. I was like, but there's so many podcasts that are named that. Like I want to be able to, if someone looks up a, like whatever I'm talking about, you know, whatever the title is, and they see it, like they're like, oh, like, this is the only one. Like, let's check out what this is, type thing. But at the same time, I also don't care. I don't care if I have one listener or no listeners, because I'm still gonna do it. It's just, I feel like it's gonna be something that's like gonna be very relaxing for me, or just I talk a lot, so it's like nice that I can just kind of talk to myself. Sorry, fuck it. Like the podcast isn't for anybody else. It's just for me, so I can hear the sound of my own fucking voice. Like, I'm just gonna talk to myself in a room.
No, I get you. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
No, I get it, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing you do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, it's
you're
gonna
be my critique and tell me.
Oh God, if I'm the one guiding you, you're gonna have some fucking problems. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, dude.
No, you're doing great though, man. Like I saw it, and like I went on YouTube and like saw a lot of your like different episodes with like all the guys from fucking school. So I was like, damn, like that's just so dope. He's doing it.
Thank you.
That's so awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been weird. We're already coming up on a year.
Yeah, and you guys are killing it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Honestly, looking at yours, I was like, damn, Noah did it. Fuck, like I gotta do it now. Like I want to do it now anymore. Like I had it. It was like back in my mind, you know, and I was like, fuck, he did it. Like, I guess I actually have to fucking do it now. Like, if he can do it, I can fucking do it.
Well, I'm glad I indirectly pushed you over the edge. It's
You
fun,
did.
man. And I hope you like it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have a great time.
Fuck
I just
yeah.
gotta figure out what the fuck I'm gonna talk about. Maybe I'll just put the microphone in my face and see what. Talk about my cat. I don't know.
Well, again, I'm really glad we were able to sit down and do this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I know it's late.
Oh, dude, I don't give a fuck.
Shit.
Dude, time is irrelevant. I don't give a fuck. And whenever you come back into town, we'll do it again.
Yeah, sounds
Fuck
great.
yeah.
Whenever.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah, dude.
All right, well,
fun.
thank you guys for listening and watching. That still feels weird saying that, but it feels so weird. But I really am. For those of you listening and watch this one, I've been looking forward to this for a while.
I know, we've been trying to link this up for a
Yes.
long time, dude. It's
And
been great.
I think you talked about a lot of really important things that a lot of people need to hear, regardless if you're in the Marine Corps or not. So thank you a lot, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, everybody.
All right.
This is awesome.
Y'all have a good night. Adios.
Bye.
This episode of the OnlyKings podcast is brought to you by OrganicPricedBooks.com. Guys, there's not been a better time to get into collecting comics, and OrganicPricedBooks.com has multiple formats such as the Omnibus, Deluxe Hardcover, and trade paperbacks at huge discounts, such as The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, originally at $125, marked down to $80. Use my discount code NOAH, NOAH, at checkout for an additional discount on top of what you're already getting, which can range from anywhere between 25 to 42% off. Again, OrganicPricedBooks.com, discount code NOAH, NOAH, for an additional discount.